A friend of mine's father was a computer tech for many years. I take it probably throughout the 80s and 90s and apparently up until about the early mid-2000s, something like that. And this father's getting to be a little bit older now and he's not doing this stuff anymore, and so he's got a whole massive bunches of stuff, piles of stuff. I don't know what you want to call it, but it is just insane. The amount of stuff this guy has collected over the years of doing it. And I have only been able to take home a small percentage of the things that he has. There will probably be more things showing up as time goes on. But in this video, I'm going to show you the collection that I have obtained so far. I'm thinking about doing a video next time I go over there. Hopefully I'll get to go over there again before the snow starts flying. And just do a video on the garage and the shop and the piles and piles of computer parts, vintage computer parts that have been saved and stored. It's mind-boggling. So I've got several boxes that I brought home of motherboards, VLB video cards, VLB IDE controllers, ISA video cards, some hard drives as a matter of fact. A lot of interesting boards. Got some duplicates as well. This particular one is one that I'm just in the middle of testing right now. This is an Intel based chipset 486 socket 3 motherboard. And I've got two of these. As rare as those are, I've got two of them now. Both of them are Gateway OEM boards. Both of them use different Intel chipsets on them. So that's kind of interesting in itself. That should be a fun experimenting motherboards comparison, benchmarks, whatever, things like that. The other one I've got on the floor, I'll show you that in a minute, does not have an onboard IDE controller. Does have a floppy though, although the BIOS makes claim to having an IDE controller, so I don't know if I could just solder the pins onto it and it just suddenly works, I don't know. But that's just one of the boards. I got an extra Pentium overdrive chip, making it the third Pentium overdrive chip that I have acquired. The last one, which is this one in here, I purchased off eBay for about $6. It was included with a lot of about 15 heat sinks, and I figured it was worth buying the entire lot just to get this one. And this guy does run at 100 megahertz, which is cool, because my first one did not. So that's that board. Here's just one of two VLB Mach 32 video cards right here. I've got a couple cards. I don't think they're new in box, obviously, but they are in box. Diamond Stealth 24. This is one of them here. Card is in there, I assure you. And there's something else interesting below that. One of the motherboards had this battery pack attached to it. That's all they were. Which is what people are making nowadays, just putting a speaker connector on there, and voila, sticking it to the side of the case. I got some speakers and little things like that. That's not the interesting stuff. The interesting stuff, I've got four identical, right here, 386 boards. And the batteries were getting a little bit of white buildup on the side of them there, but nothing that didn't clean off pretty easily. I've already hand washed all these boards. They were pretty filthy, but I tested all of them, and all but one worked. I mean, I tested the entire pile of motherboards, not just these. And they all worked but one, but now another one has decided to stop working. So I've got four of these boards. They all have external cache on them. They use a 4X chipset, which I don't know how good that is. They all have the same Intel processor on it. Got four of those bad boys right there. We've got another interesting board down here. And this is interesting for a lot of reasons. This board has a Mr. BIOS on it already, which I've never had a board, never even played with Mr. BIOSes before. Never had that before, so that's pretty interesting. It has a soldered on 386 Intel chipset, or I mean processor. It is an Intel 386 chipset on this board, and it has a math coprocessor right here on it. You think the Intel chipset based 486 boards are rare? This has to be like unobtainium nowadays, because I never knew Intel made a chipset for the 386 processors. I thought it started off at the 486 era, but nope. They made one, and here's the proof right here. It's a 16 megahertz 386 DX chip. And the other thing that's interesting about this is it uses SIP RAM, not SIMs. And SIP RAM basically has pins soldered on to each of the pads right there, and then that plugs into the board. And this board does work, as a matter of fact. I think this is 8 meg right here of memory, SIP memory. Extremely rare memory right here. This is, I don't know that you can even get this stuff nowadays, so that's pretty interesting too. This is definitely probably one of the rarest boards, I think, probably around nowadays. 386 with an Intel chipset on it. That's pretty amazing there. I've got another 486 board down here. It's got a SIS, I think it's a 471 chipset on it, but I don't know that for sure. Socket 3 VLB board. It's got it's either 8 or 16 meg of fast page in it. It's probably 8 meg. Actually, no, it is. I think it is 16. I think those are 4 meg 6. They made 1 and 4s back then. I'm pretty sure this is 16 megs of fast page on there. You got the external cache there and all that fun stuff. And then I've got another one down here. This is another 386 board. This one has external cache on it. This one has, again, an Intel 386 DX on it. I think this board has 64K of cache on it. And I got, what's this one back here? I think I've got it. Not sure if this one's a 286 or not. Yeah, no, that's a 386 board there. Let's see here. This one is pretty cool. I'm going to definitely play with this one. 46 DLC 33, and I believe it's running at 40 megahertz. I could be wrong about that. I don't see a 14 meg clock. It might be 33. Some people like to overclock these things, so it could be either or. It's got a Reveal by Cyrix 387DX on it right there, and of course more fast page memory. I think that's 4 meg on there. This board was in an anti-static bag for a long time, and it definitely works. It had, again, a little bit of corrosion on the battery, but that washed up just fine. Definitely gave all these a good hand washing over putting them in the dishwasher, because dishwasher would tend to not be very kind with those stickers on there, and I wanted to preserve those. Here's another ATI Mach 32 right here. This isn't really anything terribly special. It's just a plain old-fashioned VX-based socket 7 board here. But this did have an Intel Pentium 200 MMX on it. It does have a bloated capacitor there. So I don't know. I think this. I don't remember if I tested this board or not. I don't think I did. But these two right here, these are special too. Unfortunately, these two don't work, but the third one does. I've got 3 of these things. This is a Micronics motherboard. And this has the Gateway sticker on it, which means this is a Gateway OEM board, and it is Gateway BIOS on it. But yeah, this is another interesting board here. This is that green LED right there. And this is why I'm pretty sure that that board that's in that ALR 46 computer was made by Micronics, because this LED, although it was red on that board, but the LED on this motherboard is kind of one of those call signs of the motherboard manufacturer back in the day, and nobody really did that. Tyan did for a while. I don't know if they still do or not, but I don't think Tyan was making motherboards back then. I think they started with a socket 7. At least that's the earliest one I ever had. But it did have an LED on it. But this is a pretty big board. Socket 3. The second one is interesting because this one down here, and this was the one I was kind of hoping to get working, but so far no go. This one does not have the Gateway part number on it, and it has a standard AT keyboard on it as opposed to the PS2 that that motherboard has and the other one that works has. But it's identical to the other 2 boards in every other way. The socket is different. It does use a different socket there. You can see the latch is different as opposed to that one there. But this board doesn't work. I pulled the BIOS out of this board because I thought maybe the BIOS was bad. And so I swapped out the BIOS from that one into this one, and it still didn't work. So anyway, I put this BIOS into the working board, and it did come up, and it is a non-Gateway OEM board, even though the BIOS options are exactly the same as far as I can tell. But yeah, this is I kind of hoping maybe I can get this working, but so far it has been a no-show on that one. I've got another VLB card, maybe a couple of them right here. I think this is another T-Sang ET4000 like what was in the ALR. Yeah, it is. W32P. And I've got the PCI version of this card as well. He is sitting over here on another one of the motherboards that I got. I got 4 of these motherboards, by the way. I haven't been able to get these boards to work. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because the riser card is missing, or it's because whatever they plug into right there is not included. But they don't seem to be alive. So the other card that was in that bag with that T-Sang video card was this VLB IDE controller right here. A pair of hard cards. One of them works, the other one has definitely got a head crash to it. Unfortunately, the one that's got the head crash is the 40 meg card. The 20 meg card spins up, sounds just fine. But I have yet to actually have either one of them be recognized by the system BIOS, so I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or not. I'm going to have to investigate that just a little bit. This one on top here is the 20 meg card, and it has a big old scratch down the back of it, and I haven't traced the traces yet to make sure that they're intact or damaged or something like that, as that damn fly just landed on it. Get rid of him. But it does have some removable chips. These look to me like ROM chips right here, so I'm kind of thinking that if that board is damaged, I'm going to take the board from the 40 meg hard card, put it on the 20 meg drive, and probably swap those chips and see what happens. I don't even know if that can be done, but yeah, it'll be a fun video to do. Here's a real old school network card right here. I don't know if this is really a PCI slot or not, but it's definitely an 8-bit bus right here. That's the way it would plug into the board. And believe it or not, there's actually networking equipment for these over there in that garage too. It's digital equipment over there, digital brand equipment. There's like a networks media server or something like that. 4 or 5 switches, and they all have this same phone line style plug right here. So that might be fun to grab one of those and set up an old vintage network and just see how that worked back in the day, because that's definitely a little bit before my time. I did use ArcNet. That's what we called these back in the days, coaxials. And I would like to set one up again. Maybe he's got an old ArcNet switch or hub or something over there and some cables. That would be kind of cool, 'cause I'd like to have one of those again to do a video about. 3 more of those motherboards. Again, all of them I haven't been able to get to working. But even if they don't work, they all have processors on them. This one I already took out already. They're all SX25s that are on there, so I can snag those. And I might snag the memory chips off of these. Well, I'll definitely snag these memory chips, but this is the video RAM chips. I might snag those. Otherwise, the boards are pretty much worthless to me. 3 RAM cards, which I have yet to test. And they have their serial ports on the back of them there. This one's actually got a clock battery on it there, probably for an XT or 286 class. And so does this one over here. This one's got a clock battery too on it. ASTs, at least that one is anyway. That's not all as far as cards go, because in this box right here I've got a whole pile of MFM controllers, and that's part of the other reason why I want to go back there, is because he has stacks of MFM hard drives over there. Ooh. But I have a feeling that given the fact they've been sitting for several years, they might be seized up. That's the problem with the hard cards. They were seized up, and I had to give them a gentle tap before they freed themselves. I actually had to get the sledgehammer out on the 40 meg drive before it finally started spinning. But you know, the head sounds like it's gone, so I don't know if that's because of the sledgehammer or because it was already gone. But yeah, that's just what you have to do sometimes. And we've got some thunder outside. This card, I don't know what this is. Oh, this is an Adaptec card. Adaptec MFM card, I believe. This might be worth some money, I don't know. Got the BIOS right there. Handwritten. LED on there. Look at how many chips they've got. Looks like processors they've got going on that thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks to me like, anyway. But I have a feeling that those cards probably still work. And I've got this massive thing too. Another MFM controller. With a Paradise COM card attached to it. Or serial port, whatever you want to call it. No, that's not a video card. I thought it was a video card at first, but I saw somewhere on here it said serial connector, so I'm like, oh, yep, that's not a video card. Oh yeah, over here. Serial port. It's got the dip switches for the serial port right there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just. Well, it's got dip switches for the parallel port too, so it looks like it's going to handle 2 MFM drives. I don't know, because there's a port right there that could be parallel port. That might be video, huh? I'm gonna have to look into that, because I don't know. That might be a video card. It's on a 16-bit bus. Huh. Well, some investigating to do on that one. Western Digital Corporation, 1984. Western Digital Corporation, 1985. So this must be a... I wonder if this is a Winchester controller. Oh no, I don't know if they had those or not. I know Seagate did. Assembly no. Well, I'm gonna have to do some investigating on that one. Oh, and by the way, he's got 4 of these drives over there and about 30 cartridges. Here's an interesting little card. I'm going to assume that this is a, yeah, RAM card. Yeah, Ramp AT Plus. So that must be a memory card for a AT or a 286. Unless that's a memory drive, RAM, what do they call them? RAM drives? RAM drive cards? I don't think so though. I think this is probably just memory. Probably 4 meg on there. This is definitely by far the most interesting IDE controller that I think I've ever seen before. This is a high performance card apparently. It has 2 30-pin SIM module sockets right there, along with what looks like RAM right here too already on it. It looks to me like buffer RAM. Super IDE. It is ISA, but if my assumption is correct about this card, that means it stores, probably stores however much RAM you put on this thing worth of hard drive programs that are stored on the hard drive. You got 4 or 8 meg or 16, well, 4, let's see here, 2 meg or 8 meg I think is what you could probably put on this thing. And I guess that buffers the data coming from the hard drive. I wonder how, I'll have to see how that works, because that's kind of a neat idea. It's kind of like having an SSD, one of those modern hybrid SSD drives they've got nowadays, where it's got the regular hard drive and it's got like 64 gig or 32 gig of SSD storage on the hard drive as well. That's kind of a neat card to play with there. I have to see if that's really what that's for, but I don't know what else it would be for, having those RAM sockets right there. I'm guessing that would store 4 meg or 8 meg or however much RAM you put in here worth of files that you've used last. Programs, files, whatever's been opened, accessed on the hard drive would probably get stored here. Yep. But I've got more stuff. These are brand new 386 SX math coprocessors. .387 SX. Got 2 of these. And they have been opened, but everything's in there, including the processor. Here's what's inside the box. Little Intel math coprocessor right there. Find a leg to keep this stuff from falling off of. Installation guide. What's your opinion? There you go. Model PS2. Mathco Processor Software Guide. There you go. Intel. Yeah. I can see a lot of hardcore computer collectors, processor collectors out there having absolute frickin' heart attacks if I powered this thing up in a motherboard. I might just have to do that for fun, because I do have one of these motherboards will take this processor, so yeah, that might be a good video. The buck doesn't stop there, however. Got yet another 386 motherboard. This one's a little bit more standard, something you would see on eBay. And judging from that part number right there, it looks to me like it's a gigabyte board. 8 memory slots. I don't know what that card slot's used for. That's something to look up. Opti chipset, another thing that's very common to see back on 386 and 486 boards. Again, we have cache RAM on this thing. And we got ourselves an AMD DX40 386 on there. 80 megahertz clock crystal right there. Those are rare. Those make for fun overclocking projects to get some of those 80 megahertz crystals and put them on 46 machines that got 66 megahertz crystals on them. That's a lot of fun. This particular battery is in excellent shape. There's a little bit of green starting to show up on there, but it's really not too bad. Overall, that's a good board. Like I said, these all work, so there's another one. It's interesting. I don't know for sure. Ideal 46. Yeah. That's one of the very early 46 processors too. Our Intel processors, DX33. You can tell the early ones by the copyright, because the first generation of these things just have copyright 1989 on them, whereas the newer ones have copyright 89/92 on them. They have a little bit of a slightly different logo on them too, but yeah. I've got a few of those original 46s actually, including a DX50, which is pretty cool. Well, yeah, another one of these interesting boards. Doesn't have any cache on it. And I pulled this out too. Creative Labs PC DVD 6X DVD player right there. I actually thought that was just a standard CD drive until I got it home and looked at it. It's actually a DVD, but that's okay. I like that Creative logo. I kind of miss seeing that. Definitely claims to be been made by Creative anyway. March of 1999. IDU. I've got 3 486 machines too. Well, I'll get to those in just a second. I got 3, well maybe it's 2, brand new Pentium 2 processors here. This one happens to be a 300, I think. No, this is a 450. This is a Pentium 2 450. One of these is a 300 though that I've got, and the other one's a 233. As you can tell, this one might be used actually. That one looks used to me. I'll find the new ones here in just a second. Here's a pair of Trident 9800Cs. A couple different manufacturers. You typically see these in 386 systems, this particular style with this connector on top here. Got 2 of those. This board is probably one of the many gems in this pile of stuff that I got. What is it, you might ask? Well, let me get it out of the bag here. This is a 286 motherboard with an AMD 10 MHz 286 processor in it. It's complete with RAM on board. It also takes SIP memory by the looks of it. Bank 0, Bank 1. I have no idea if you can use this with this or if you can only use this without this, or I don't know. I have no idea about that. But this board, I don't believe this board was ever used. The reason I say that is there is dust on the surface of it. However, when you look at it, You look at it from the side there, there's absolutely no dust at all on the tops of those ISO slots right there, like you would normally see from a motherboard that's been sitting in a case just like that. There's absolutely no dust whatsoever on the tops of those. No, I didn't wash this board. I haven't washed this board yet. There is still dust on top of the board. Wipe some of it off. I don't know. There's really not much on here. It was in an anti-static bag. But there's absolutely no dust on these slots at all. Oh, here's a good dusty spot right here. You can see where I wiped it off already. So you can see there's dust on the board. There's absolutely none on the tops of those slots right there. And it's not just the shine of those slots. You know, there's absolutely no dust whatsoever on those. It's incredible. I don't think this board was ever used. I don't think it was ever hooked up, put in. It might have been put in a computer, maybe. I don't know. It's got standoffs on it. But unless it was cleaned at some point years and years ago, I don't think so. I do have a math coprocessor to put in this, something I've had for 15 years. So that's cool. I actually do have a 12 megahertz 286 chip. Unfortunately, a row of the pins are broken off of it, so I've just kept it as kind of like a little collector's thing. It doesn't work, unfortunately. I don't think, anyway. It's missing probably 5 or 6 pins right here, but who knows, maybe it does. Copyright at some point in its life. Made in Taiwan. There's no CMOS battery on this board. And I don't even see, it could have one though, but I don't even see a plug for an external battery. Unless it's over here or something. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to find a manual for this board. But probably one of those MFM or those memory cards that I've got with the CMOS battery on it would probably fit in this thing and work. I don't know. Continuing with the collection of stuff, Stealth 64, and I already have one of these, but this one's got the box and the CDs and the manuals. It's VLB with 2 meg on it. Made in USA. Don't see that anymore. Windbench 4.0. It's too bad I couldn't find a Viper over there. Maybe there's one hidden somewhere over there. I've got another box stashed under here. I've got a motherboard box stashed under here with 2 or 3 little goodies in it. A Speedstar VLB card with 2 meg on it. A Cirrus Logic chip. Three packets. Oh, okay, 2 packets. No, there's 3 there. Windows 286 runtime. And there's another packet of them. These ones are PageMaker or something. They're state surplus cards. Some more video cards right here. Another MFM controller. No, this is an MFM. This is just a regular IDE. Definitely like those. Sound Blaster 16. A whole pile of what is believed to be unused 30-pin memory right there. A smushed 46 processor of unknown speed. Well, actually, I could just do that, can't I? DX250. I'll have to see if I can straighten those pins out, but that might be a little trying even for me. I've got what appears to be a brand new, and I do mean that, brand spanking new, Intel Overdrive DX475, which means this chip will probably run at 100, making this the first Intel 46 DX4 100 that I have ever had. I'm pretty sure this is a brand new chip, unused, and I'm sure that the computer collectors would absolutely throw a fit if I powered this thing up. So that's the reason why to do it. Yeah. Has a heatsink very similar to Cyrix. A Whittle 386 DX20. And again, this whole tray of what's believed to be unused memory, Samsung. Those are probably 1 meg sticks. These might be 4s. It's unbelievable. Brand new unused serial mouse. Bunches of softwares and manuals and stuff in there. I haven't gone through any of that, so I have no idea what all's in there. Might be something interesting though. Pair of ISA Ethernet cards. A motherboard anti-static bag full of a whole bunch of CDs in here. A Promise Tech VLB ID controller. Those were expensive. An EISA video card. Appears as if from nowhere. Do you believe it if I said there was a Monster Sound card in that box right there? Well, actually it's in my hand. Diamond Monster Sound complete with wavetable card. Here's where the other Pentium Overdrive processor is living right now. I don't know if it works. I don't know if this board works or not. I haven't tested it yet. Very, very interesting board. It's a Zeos International, and I actually have the manuals and books and binder actually that went with this particular computer. I don't know where the computer itself is, but this is the motherboard for it. VLB has a 46SX soldered to it. I believe these are for cache. Some kind of proprietary cache module would have gone there. I don't know that for certain because I know nothing about this particular board. But it is a pretty big board. Got some RAM right there, probably fast page if I had to guess. This would probably work in the ALR machine. I have to see how big these are. This board is interesting though because it has an onboard SCSI controller, or at least it could. The chip is missing. I don't know if that was pulled out at some point or if you actually have to buy the SCSI controller itself. 46 with onboard SCSI. That's interesting. Other than that, it's pretty much just a standard 46 board, albeit giant, but I don't know if this is a workstation board or a server board. You can see the Zeos International copyright there, 1992. And given the fact that the Pentium Overdrive chip is currently installed in it, I have to assume that this board is capable of running that chip. So, I'm curious to see if that's another one of those golden 100 megahertz chips or not. It'd be nice if it is. If it's not, I might just sell it. And at last, anyway, for this video, is this very, very interesting card. This is an MPEG decoder card with TV tuner, apparently. Looking at the picture of it, VLB TV tuner, full MPEG motion playback, capture. Multimedia world. This is a heavy box. I haven't actually opened this yet, but it is heavy. So I don't know if what's pictured there is what's actually inside of this box. Might do that for the next video, because I am kind of hankering to look at this. But it is a heavy box, so there's something in here that's good. Even came with software, look at that. Including video editing software. Hardware, TV tuner. I mean, this was a big deal back then. Graphic processor ET4000W32P with 2 meg RAM, optional 1 meg RAM. So this might be a video card and a capture card all in one. That's what it kind of looks like. I'll have to find that out. TV, so this is, I wonder if this is a predecessor to the All-in-Wonder. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something if this Miro company was actually bought out by ATI? And that's when ATI came out with their All-in-Wonder cards. That would be rather fascinating. Designed by Miro Computer Products, AG Germany. Registered trademark, AG Germany. Here's some old school. Hey, look at that. Looks like a TV right there. Looks like a Dell or a Compaq right there in that picture. There's an old school digital. No, it's not digital. It'd be probably maybe high 8. Video 8 or high 8, but yeah. Wow. MPEG power. Yeah, I had to save this for last because this is nice. And to have it in a box, that's, like I said, I don't know if that's in here or not, but I'm going to save that suspense for a future video. I don't know if it's going to be the next one, but yeah. Unfortunately, about the only processor I'm going to have to run with this is the Pentium overdrive chip. I'm not going to have a real Pentium processor with a VLB. I do have one, but it only runs at a Pentium 100, and right now the memory doesn't quite work right on it. So, but yeah, it's an Opti chipset. BIOS was swiped for another project, and I had to find a BIOS that would at least work with it, and it's not 100% compatible, so that's why that doesn't work. But yeah, this is, folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg of the stuff. This is about 98% of the stuff I brought back. There's a couple motherboards that I didn't show. They're not really all that important right now, but the guy's got an 8-inch floppy drive, dual floppy drive, just sitting in this garage. He's got those Bernoulli drives. He's got 4 of them, dual Bernoulli drives, which, if you don't know what those are, they're basically the predecessor to the zip disk, and they're huge disks. They're cartridges. They're huge cartridges, like 20 meg, 40 meg a piece, something like that, and you interchange them. There's 2 of them that you can put in these drives, and I may have the controllers to those. I don't know yet, but supposedly the controllers are there. There's all kinds of old school networking stuff. The one computer that I want to get, but it's a massive computer, and I don't know if I want to keep it or not. It's going to take up a lot of room. There is an AT&T 386 box over there that I believe is a server. It's got a massive, massive hard drive, and as far as size-wise goes, it is a heavy thing. I could not lift it by myself. It's so heavy. It is big. It's about, well, I'll give you an example, rough example. Ugham down here. That case, the 386 AT&T box is probably twice as long as that case. I would say it's maybe a little bit taller, but not by much. The AT&T case is interesting because the motherboard is actually vertical mounted, so all of the ports come out the top, and there's a plastic cover that goes over it to cover those up. And it's all there. It's all complete too, and it's in fairly good shape. It's not too beat up or anything. It's got like 2 memory cards in it, plus memory on the motherboard that's installed. It's a massive thing. So I don't know. I want to get it because I want to do a video on it. I want to see what it does. I want to see what it was. If it was a server, it has to be a server. I don't know what else it could be. The power supply is mounted in the front of the thing, and being an AT&T box, that's just insanely rare. He's also got 4 or 5 digital brand Pentium 2 boxes over there, and I was thinking of snagging one of those. Out of all the stuff, the MFM drives, I want to snag those. I want to snag all of them because I need some for my 286. I'd like to put one in the Tandy. I was kind of hoping to get one of the hard cards working, if not both of them, but so far that's not going the way I hoped. My fear is that those MFM drives might be, the heads might be stuck to the platters, just like the hard cards were. They've been sitting out in this shop for a while, so for many years. But yeah, he's got probably at least 10, maybe 15 of those drives just sitting on a shelf. He's got AT power supplies just sitting there on a shelf. This literally, if you've ever watched American Pickers and you go through some of these places where these people that hoard stuff, is just like the guys are just having a crawl and everything. That's literally, well, not quite as bad, but it's basically what this situation is now. We've got shop tools in the garage, drills and benches, and then we've got computer parts just laying on top of it. There's Athlon XP systems just sitting in there. There's boxes. I pulled 3 boxes just full of motherboards, and there's motherboards just sitting there. There's stuff on shelves. There's computers on top of. And you think UXW Bill's basement has a lot of stuff? UXW Bill has absolutely nothing on this guy. I'm telling you. I'm going to have to do a video on this because it's just insane what this guy's collected when he was a tech. The one thing I haven't seen over there, Batman still is an elusive son of a bitch. Not one of those computers that I looked at was a Pentium 60. Not one of them. And I could not believe it. He didn't have a Pentium 60 over there. Motherboard or processor, out of all that stuff. There is an area of the shop that I was not able to look through. That's the area that has the MFM hard drives and the power supplies and stuff like that, because there's a lot of wood blocking the way. So maybe Batman is there. I have the processor. I have a processor that I have had for about nearly 20 years now. It's the original Pentium 60 chip, not the one with the gold top on it. It's the original FDiv bug one. And I've bought some motherboards on eBay that were gold scrap boards, hoping that I could maybe get them working, and I haven't had any success on that. But yeah, Batman's an elusive son of a bitch. And I really thought, after all this stuff that I saw, all these 46 and 386 motherboards and all this stuff, Bernoulli drives and stuff that you don't see since the 80s, that he'd have at least one Batman. And so far I haven't found it over there, so he might be hiding somewhere over there. But anyway, if you're wondering what I'm going to do with all this stuff, I've got several duplicates. The 386 boards that I have duplicates of, I'm probably going to put most of those on eBay, probably 3 of the 4 of them on eBay. A lot of these boards, a lot of the motherboards anyway, will probably end up on eBay eventually. Oh, I almost forgot. I know it's not as exciting, but I'm going to show you the Pentium 2s that I grabbed real quick here before I end the video. This is a Pentium 2 233 here. This was one I used to have one of these and I threw it away because I thought I wouldn't need it anymore. And then I started doing this channel. I'm like, I'd like to have the original Pentium 2 processor just to see what, do comparisons with it. Instead of, taking a 300 and underclocking it or something like that. So that's one. These are the two that are brand new. And I know that they're brand new because there's no marking. You know, the clips, the heatsink clips would go right here on those things. I'm pretty sure this is a brand new processor. Looks like it came from a IBM if I had to guess. Probably ordered in or something like that as a spare. But I can tell that it's a new processor just from looking at the backing plate here where the heatsink would go, because normally the heat sinks would clip right here and the paint's not worn off or gouged or anything like that at all. Not to mention you can see, except for where my finger is rubbed it anyway, where the grease from my finger's gone, so you can see there's no contact pattern whatsoever on this surface to indicate a heat sink and thermal compound was ever pressed up against it. This one, I'm pretty sure that one's brand new. This one is questionable. I'm not sure. I don't think this one was used either. It does have a little bit of paint wear around the screw holes right there, so that one's questionable. I don't know for sure on that one. But I kind of tend to think this one probably is too. It's a 300 as well. Because I don't see any contact pattern where the heatsink would touch it, because this is off-centered right here. The heatsink would contact in this area right here, and usually thermal compound is a bitch to get off completely clean. Even a thermal pad would leave a mark right there. So I tend to believe this one is probably new as well, but this one was in the anti-static bag. This one was not, I think, is what one of these was in an anti-static bag. So anyway, I'm pretty sure those are brand new, which doesn't really mean anything. And Pentium 2s aren't really worth anything. They're pretty worthless processors, actually. Well, I like playing with them. Other people do, but from a price collector standpoint, they're really not worth anything. Anyway, that was a lot of stuff to go through. So yeah, there'll be videos on stuff. And I just got to decide what I want to do first. There's actually, I want to do a video comparing 486 performance, and now that I have those Intel boards, this should be a very good video. Oh, I forgot. If anyone's still watching, I do apologize for this being so long, but I've got so much stuff to go through. This computer right here is another 486. This is the third one. And it's got one of those PC chips boards in it. Also sold as Amptron back in the day, and that would make that the third board that I currently have. The fourth board I've ever owned. I have the one that I have is the green version with the fake cache. This one's the gold version with without the fake cache on it. That does have an AMD 586-133, the Z-rated version, which I'll explain about in a future video, because I want to do a video specifically on the AMD 586 processors. But the Z80Z processors are the special ones, and this board has it. This case, I don't have the top for it. The front's yellowed pretty bad. It's missing all the drive covers. The board does work. It's got a Trident 9440 video card in it, and it's a very clean board. The power supply's good. It does have one of those LEDs on the front of it, so right now it's set to say low or high. But I might do something with that case, or I might just throw it away. I don't know. But I got it mainly for the motherboard. Oh, yeah. I was over there for like 3 hours going through stuff. And I barely scratched the surface. Anyway, hopefully I'll get to do a video taking you guys on a tour of that place, because UXW Bill ain't got nothing on it. If UXW Bill put everything he has into one small space or two small spaces, he might be able to get there. We did end up throwing a lot of the CRTs away. A lot of them were old, junky, crappy CRTs. So I'm not really too concerned about those. I don't think they even worked. I mean, after 15 years, 20 years of sitting in a garage, who knows, but I don't think there was any that were out there. If there was a CGA one, I would have kept it, but I don't think there was any CGA ones out there. They were all early mid-90s compact monitors, so not very good, not really worth keeping. So anyway, I'm going to cut this video off here, and with a tour of what my room looks like now after I've repainted it and put some new benches in here, so anyone's curious. Which hopefully this scheme that I've got going with the darker walls and the darker desks will prove to be better for filming. Less light needed to shine on the actual item itself that I'm trying to videotape, I guess you'd call it digital videotape. Oh, I keep forgetting. I got so much stuff. I got that too. It's an old IBM ThinkPad tablet, and it has a dock with it, which is kind of interesting. I want to do a video on that, although there was a couple on YouTube already. Unfortunately, it did work when I brought it home and I plugged power into it. At some point it stopped charging the battery and it no longer turns on. So that kind of sucks. It has Windows 3.1 on it right now. The hard drive, the little hard drive, still works. It shocked the shit out of me. But yeah, kind of wanted to get that thing up and running, but that's another one that may have bit the dust. But at least I got to look at it when it first brought it home. Anyway, it turned on. So, oh well. This is what happens when you get a whole bunch of stuff. Is sometimes it kind of works for a while and then just suddenly goes bye-bye. Anyway, take care everyone. Peace out.